I'll go quicker with this one. Blackboard works the same way. It'll go week by week. Let the calendar be your guide. And again, you won't see all these, hopefully, when you go in there. You can see today's a lecture, and then we have this lab one thing. I'll talk about that in a second. There'll be a lecture on Wednesday and also a lab, and then we'll have quizzes, probably only a couple quizzes here and there. Mostly this class is all about just working in AutoCAD and doing labs and just ramping it up further and further, getting deeper and deeper into AutoCAD. No three-dimensional stuff until the end, and then we'll just play a little bit with 3D AutoCAD, but really it's to fine-tune your AutoCAD two-dimensional skills, which is, in engineering, that's the primary purpose of AutoCAD. Like civil, a lot of two-dimensional stuff. Construction engineering, a lot of two-dimensional stuff. Mechanical, a lot of two-dimensional stuff. So that's kind of AutoCAD's gig. So here in week one, you'll see this mandatory attendance thing. So make sure to do that. I think some people have already done, no one's done it in here yet, but that's in the submission area. That's where all your labs will go. I want 2 forms of the labs, a PDF and the DWG file. So what I do is I look at the PDF first. If it looks good, then I don't take the time to open the AutoCAD file. AutoCAD file takes a lot of time on my laptop, and I can't do it on my phone. So I like to be able to look at it quickly and go, yep, they got it, or oh, there's problems there. So I need both. The ACAD installation information is here under Monday. It's right here. It's pretty simple. I don't know, anyone do it last term? Ray, did you do it last term? Did you use SolidWorks? No, somebody else. Okay. This has been pretty simple in the past. So when it asks you for an email, you got to use your Mount Hood email. That's kind of the catch. You can't use a Gmail or something like that. I think you're going to get it for a year free. It's a pretty sweet deal. So if you don't have a laptop or a desktop that you can download it on, then you would be relying on this lab, and the main computer lab has 2 AutoCAD stations. So if you go in the main computer lab and you want to use it, just ask them which stations have AutoCAD on it. And then I would say get like a OneDrive going so you can save to the cloud, and then you can pull it up here at home or at work or in the lab, anywhere, right? OneDrive's super good with that. And that is, I do want to know when you get it downloaded. If you do that, there is a little posting here that says how to go. If there was a problem, what was the problem? And if you solve the problem, tell us, so then everyone else knows how to solve that problem. I'm not downloading it, so I don't know what that process is like. So we'll rely on each other to get it downloaded. Yeah. It's the syllabus is here. Monday syllabus. And it is heavily weighted on labs. So like there'll be a midterm, labs are 50% of your grade, and then a final. That's it. So labs are the drawings that we're going to do. I mean, it's all about just getting deeper and deeper and deeper into AutoCAD. We'll work with blocks. That's kind of one of the advanced features. Blocks are just a way to make drawings into objects you can use over and over, right? It's pretty simple. But then you can make intuitive blocks where you can give information to the blocks. Like if you put a window in, you can turn it into a block, and then you can add all of the purchase information for the window. Size, price, vinyl, metal, whatever, all that information. And then in the end, you can extract that all out of a drawing. So if you use smart blocks all the way through a drawing, like in mechanical, it can be valving, it could be electronics. And then in the end, you can literally download all that information into some kind of a purchasing inventory for the project. So It's pretty handy. Yeah, that's it. I don't think I mentioned this last class, but you probably have figured it out. There's a grade to date area in the grading area. So as I give you grades, it automatically calculates your grades to date. So if you need that information for anyone that you have to give that information to, it's automatically there. If there's a blank, that means I haven't done my job. If there's a 0, that means I didn't get it, or I missed it, or you missed it, somebody missed it. So the grading area is pretty important to stay up on. All right, let's look at this lab 1. So when you see something on the calendar, you have to go search for it. It's usually going to be in that day. And it's here. So lab 1 says, so this is an example of kind of, we're not starting from the beginning. Like, I'm hoping you have some AutoCAD skills. You're going to take this drawing and you're going to draw it, create a front, top, and side view, fully dimensioned with 1/8 inch text. So when I say 1/8 inch, that means that's what we want on the paper. Like if you were to print it, right? A size paper, 8.5 by 11, include a title block, blah, 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 blah. All right. So what that means is we have this little drawing here. I don't think, did I print it? I don't think I printed it. We're going to do this one. And what I said was each grid is 2 inches by 2 inches. So this is a way for me to give you drawings without giving you like the dimensions. So you decide where you put the dimensions yourself. If I give you a drawing with the dimensions on it, then it's kind of like, oh, I should put the dimension there type of thing. So this, you have to kind of figure out its size, 2 inches per square. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Yeah, it's kind of a guess, 18. So that thing is 18 inches long, and then you just count squares to get the size of things. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. We might print at some point just to check some things, but not normally. I mean, we can. So like when you get to your lab where you get to choose the project, when we get to the project, you get to choose what that project is. You might want to print that in the end. That's a good resume piece, like good portfolio piece. So yeah, we can definitely print, but I don't do a lot of printing. I'll show you how I check a drawing, so then you know how I'm going to look at it. That's kind of important. I didn't print this. Maybe I can print it. Can I print it? I don't know if I can. Maybe. We'll see if it does. It's a good test. Did not. Ah, scary. Go away. That's supposed to work. Not printing. So no, I'm not going to print it for now. So I'm just going to guess at the side. Oh, there it goes. Wow, that was slow. Then I can make copies if you want a paper copy. See if this works. I'm just printing it so I have it right next to me. Right now. I mean, it used to be so simple when they didn't keep track of everything. Got it, but you can't see the grids. All right. Oh, now it's gonna go twice. Perfect. Oh, thanks. So we are running 22, 23. So when you go to download it, don't download 24, 25, or we're gonna have some compatibility issues. 22, 23. Looks something like this, says 22 at the top. All right, so just quickly just kind of to give you a rundown of where I'm hoping we're at, right? This is the drawing graphic area. So if I wanted to draw in here, this is where I would do it. It's going to give myself an object. I'm not sizing it. Huh? All right. Not sizing it. So I just drew myself a shape. So then when I go to layout, that's down here, right? I get to see the paper. So this is called paper space. This is model space where we draw the model. In paper space, there's a viewport, and this viewport is how we see the model. So it's like cutting a hole. Like cutting a hole in the paper and allowing us to see this model, right? So in this view, we can be in either paper or model. We can be in either one. They're the same. Like this is model, right? Where we draw the model. This is paper, but I can go back and forth. So if I click that, now I'm working kind of through the paper into the model. That's kind of the best way to describe it. Like cuts a hole in the paper and now I can work in the model space. I don't do that because this is small. I like big, like lots of space, right? So here's where I draw. But in paper space, here is where, if we're in paper, this is where the title block should go, general notes, anything like that, not dimensions. Dimensions need to be in model space, tagged to the model. Okay, so that's probably the most out of beginning AutoCAD. Like if I can get that through to a student, then I'm done good in 10 weeks, like to where they can really understand it and control it. So the control part is really with text and dimensions. Like we're going to draw everything 1-to-1 here. If it's, 800 meters, I'm going to draw it 800 meters. But getting that down onto a piece of paper with the right size dimensioning, that's kind of the tricky part. And even if you've been through AutoCAD 1, like to remember how to go through that process is a little bit like takes time. If you don't run the stuff all the time, it's like, how did I do that to get the right text size? So I'll go through that kind of, I don't know, fairly quickly. I'm going to give myself a real object though. And if you have any questions, just stop me right as I go through this, like, what are you doing or how are you doing it? Do that, stop me. I'm going to draw our basic shape. Can't really see the grid points, but I know it was 16 along the bottom. My primary method of drawing is just like to aim and shoot, right? I just use that green marching ants thing, get it vertical. And if I want a certain distance, I just type in the distance and hit enter because I'm already in the line command, right? Line command is just kind of continuous. So it looks like it goes up. Oh, I can actually see him 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 inches. And any arcs I worry about later, like I get some things in, some straight lines in, right? But like that upper arc, I'll do that later. So I'm just going to box it all in. 2, 4, 6, 8 inches this way. Just aiming and putting in a distance. Looks like the bottom is 2 inches tall. So maybe I jump over here and go up 2. And then bring it in. Now, if your object snaps are on, you can grab points and kind of pull them down. So I'm grabbing that upper endpoint, pulling it down. So if you're careful with that and your mouse is quiet, not active, right? If it's too active, you'll lose it every time. If you had too much coffee, in my case, it just doesn't work. But I can pull it down and get all these helpful horizontal and verticals lined up. And I can be confident that that's right on the money. And you want to be confident with that or don't do it. So there's that. Yeah, so I got to round it. I don't use arcs. I don't like them. I just use circles and trim them up because trim's really been improved quite a bit. So I think, what was that? 2, 4, 6, that was 8 across. So then what I would do is just put in a construction line, which is going to be down 4, and then go with the circle there to there. So I do a lot of construction lines, like just less math, more construction lines. I can get rid of that now, and then I can trim. And I'm a typer, so I haven't gone up to the ribbon once. Sorry, that's probably generational, right? You're probably ribbon drivers and you'll go up there all the time, but I never go up there, hardly ever. So you can see I typed in TR for trim. I'm doing that a little bit unconsciously. I know it's up here somewhere. It's right there. And lines there and circles there. You can find it online, but really just guess. Like if I want circle, I'll start with C, and then it'll pull down all the options that start with C, and you can see circles right on top. So the other thing you can do is you can just nail that now, and I have circle. But like if I want trim, I'd go T. I don't see it. It is number 2 there, right? Just continue to spell it and it'll show up. And then you can learn them that way too. Yeah. What's the copy's the one I always screw up because it's CO, not just C. But yeah. TR enters faster for me than going up and trying to find, most time because I can't find the damn thing I want and I get frustrated. So, but trim's been improved in that you can just draw a line through what you want trimmed. So that dotted line, whatever it goes through, trims. So if you haven't run AutoCAD recently, that's a major improvement. You do not have to select objects. You can just TR and then draw that line through things you want removed. And it'll, if you keep, I'm keeping the pick button pushed, it'll show you what it's going to do. Right? Like, yep. If you hit escape, if you actually let up on your finger, it does it. Right? But you always have the undo button here to bring it back. Command Control C is cancel. That's repeat. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, don't know. All right, so now let's, I'm not going to draw the whole thing. You all can draw it. Get the hidden lines in too. So if you haven't worked with hidden lines in a while, remember that to use them, you got to load them. AutoCAD does not load line types. So here's the line types. And we are working with a continuous and a thin line. So if I pull it down and I wanted a different line type, there are none. And it's just doing that to save memory. So that means go to other and to go to load. So there's all the line types. The first ones are isometric or not isometric, metric. And then the next ones are US versions. They're still the same line types. It's just a little different spacing, a little handier. Like if I wanted hidden, I would just choose that one. If you had a big drawing, you might use hidden ×2. If you had a little drawing, you might use hidden 0.5. That's why you've got 2 of them. More than likely, you're still going to have to adjust that line type scale because it's just not very intuitive. But I'll say, okay, all that did was load it. Now it's here, hidden. Okay, so remember, you got to load them before you can use them. If there's a lot of ways to do this, and we will get into layers. And we'll get into layer control. But in the beginning, if you want a hidden line, like I'm going to put a line in here. And if I want that line hidden, the way I do it is I just draw a regular line in, because I don't like going up and switching them because I'll forget. I just grab it and then say hidden, and it'll do it. So what I do is get all my lines in first and then go and choose the ones I want hidden. Or put one in and then maybe do a copy, you know, to wherever it's supposed to go. So the thing with hidden lines is it'll look good here in model space. Sometimes you'll go to here and it'll look like crap. So that didn't look too bad. Where you want to look at it is here. You want it to look good here, because when you hit print, that's what you get. No matter what it looks like over in model space. And you can even see the difference, like those are really tight. I like those. And these are, there's only 3 here, right? So it's already doing some kind of an adjustment. Yeah, that looks okay. I'm okay with that. All right, let's talk about dimensioning, because that's a big thing. If I ask for 1/8 inch on the drawing or on the paper, 1/8 inch, which the reason I do this is because this is what the county does, or any organization you have to submit to. They have rules on the paper size. Everything is A size or B size now. No more C, big ass drawings, unless you're commercial. Commercial goes C, but all residential is B size. And then they want 1/8 inch text. And if they don't get it, they'll reject your drawings. It's like, what? Yep, wrong size text. Like, you guys are kind of particular. So we have to have really good control over that. So the way to do that, here's your dimensioning stuff. We need to set up that dimension style. So there's a little triangle right there. And that's dimension style. That's text style. That's leader style. And that is table. Haven't done a lot of tables. But here's dimension style. So the first thing before you place a dimension is you want to go in here and make this little drawing. A little drawing never changes. Sometimes students say, that's not my drawing. That's just an example drawing. And you want it to look like the dimension style that you want it to look like. Not, this is AutoCAD's default for US inches. So first thing is accuracy. We don't want 4 places. Is that 4 or 3? Yeah, it's 4 places. However many places we want, right? Or if we want fractional, then we have to change it, right? Arrowheads are good. We want those. We do want annotative. Annotative means it's going to scale it for us, so we don't have to think about it. Okay, so we want annotative dimensions. And now you can see annotative has already been tweaked. That's probably me. I already have it down to 0.1, right? But if I modify, I can go in and I can change it. I can make it whatever I want. I can get the units, and I could change it to architectural, and now it's going to do fractions. Whatever you want, whatever is required on the drawing. I'll leave it at decimal. I would like 2 places though, not 1. I'll try to put it in the lab, because I'm going to make you like change it all the time, just so you have good control over it. And I think this one I just focused on text size. 2 places. If I don't tell you, then you can do whatever you want. Yeah. So under text, so we're in dimensioning, right? Under text is the text height. 0.125, that's an 1/8 inch. That's going to be what's on the paper. Okay. So you have to think about, like, if it's a really big drawing, it's going to get shrunk down to the paper. We want it 1/8 inch there, not necessarily what goes into the really big drawing, or you wouldn't be able to see it. So the way to do that is to set the height in dimensioning and to use annotative dimensioning. Annotative means It's going to look at the scale and adjust for you. Not going to be a problem. All right. So I'm going to just say, I'm going to set it current because I want to use annotated. These are two different ones. We want annotated. Set current, close. So if I go here, it should say annotative, right? For the dimension style. So that's good. So now I have to figure out the scale. The way you do that is here in layout. So in paper space, when I zoom, the paper zooms, right? And I'm just zooming with the roller mouse. In model space, the object zooms because now I'm in model space, right? So we don't want to use the roller mouse to size this. We want to pick an exact scale. That's here, right here. But you got to be in model space within paper space. Hard to say, but you got to be in model space here, not paper. Because if you're in paper, watch the scale goes away because scale doesn't make sense in paper space. In model space, scale's here, and I can choose one. And if you roller mouse, it's just some random scale, right? But if you choose one of the engineering scales, we're going to just stay with those for now. Like 1:1, it'll zoom to it. Like, okay, that doesn't fit, right? And we don't even have to think too much about this. Trial and error works fine. 1:2, nope. Go away. I must be hitting that by accident. 1:4. That fits, but if I have 3 views, that's not gonna fit. So really, you do want to draw your drawing first. Get it all done, then pick the scale. So I'm going to go even further. I'll go 1:5. I'm going to pan it. Oops, I must have hit the roller mouse. 1:5. That probably worked for 3 views. Yeah, I mean, it looks a little small, but that's because I'm zoomed out. Like if I move in, it doesn't look too bad. That'll work. So you got to have your drawing done before you dimension, at least know how much space you're going to need, and then figure out this scale 1:5. Now I can go back to model, and you'll see there's an annotative scale right there. That's what you want to set to 1:5. Dimensioning is looking at that scale. So if I don't change it, it's going to go 1:1, 1/8 inch, and then it's going to reduce it 5 times to, I can't even see it on the drawing, right? So I go here and say 1:5. You got to commit to this because you don't want to get 3 hours into dimensioning and then realize it doesn't fit, because now you got to like, oh God. It's all changeable, but it's pain. It's a big pain. So now I'm 1:5. I have determined 1:5 works good here. I can now place a dimension. So I'll just set one. Now that's going in 5 times bigger than 1/8 of an inch, right? Because the drawing gets shrunk 5 times to get onto the paper. So it's going to look big here, especially if you're zoomed in. But when you go here, escape. That's where it's 1/8. Makes sense? It's tricky, you know, if you don't do this like every day, like after a summer, and I haven't taught AutoCAD because I run SolidWorks all summer long, I'm like, God, I need to refresh that if I'm going to teach this because I'll muck it up somehow. And it's super easy to muck up. Now, how do I check it? How do I know that's 1/8 inch? If you're in paper space, I can measure it, right? Because this is in model space. That's 1/8 of an inch, supposed to be. So I can literally, in paper space, measure something that is in model space. I can't grab points, but I can do this. I can go from there to there. It's supposed to be 0.125, so it's probably rounding it. It's 1/8 inch for sure on the paper. So that's kind of like if you understand what I just did there, then you understand paper space, model space, because paper space doesn't even know there's a model there, right? So I can measure stuff. So that worked. And that's the way you can check it too. Just go into paper space and literally dimension it. If I was to dimension this in paper space, it's going to be 5 times less than a 16, right? Because it's a 5 times reduction. That's it. That is definitely enough. If you've not done that in a while, you're probably like, so yeah, I say we do lab 1 and we just see how it goes. It'll take you longer than normal. I know that because if you haven't run AutoCAD in a while, it'll be like, whoa, I don't remember this stuff. Just muck your way through it and then we'll get back together on Wednesday and see how it went. Questions? Say to where? Yeah. Okay, hang on. I'm going to come back and look. I'm going to stop this recording.